Let's be honest here. Caitlin Clark is a generational talent, a name that has already become the face of women's basketball. But with great talent comes great challenges, and Clark has been facing something beyond tough defense. Yes, you guys, she has faced bullying on the court. It's crazy how players think that they can bully someone and get away with it without any consequences. The Indiana Fever versus the Chicago Sky game had been circled on calendars for weeks. Now, you may ask why. Well, mostly because of the Clark versus Reese face-off. Almost every WNBA fan has heard about their infamous rivalry at least once. The stakes were high and the rivalry was definitely growing. From the very moment both teams stepped onto the court, one thing was clear. This was not going to be a usual game. But mid-game, the script flipped, and now all of a sudden all eyes were on Clark and Carter instead of Reese. No need to get confused. Let me walk you through it. It's not like we did not get to see the much-awaited face-off between Clark and Reese because they did provide fuel for their long-standing WNBA rivalry. So first, let's just talk about that. Of course, there were very loud boos from Indiana Fever fans whenever the Sky rookie Reese went to the free throw line. But the Fever fans went absolutely crazy when Reese picked up fouls. Seriously, guys. When Reese picked up her fifth foul early in the fourth quarter, the noise from the crowd was literally so loud that it could have caused some eardrum ruptures. But then again, that's what burgeoning rivalries are supposed to sound like. They're marked by good old-fashioned hate. You root against your rival just as fervently as you root for your favorite team. And this Sky versus Fever has given us exactly that. Both Reese and Clark are now household names, and despite their rivalry, they still hold great respect for each other. Did you know that during an interview Clark praised Angel Reese? Yes, the Indiana Fever player said that Reese has been a tremendous player and it's been fun getting to compete against her. She further added that people just love seeing great matchups, but also at the same time, the people tune in for these matchups between us. But then they get to see how amazing these teams are, and then they find new players to support and continue to come back for them too. She couldn't have been more accurate because, as an audience, we love to see great players doing what they do best. But guess what? Not every player plays by the rules. My example of that is Chennedy Carter. Now, it all started with one single moment. Carter's infamous shoulder check on Caitlin Clark. This was not just a regular foul. Somehow this was a message and Clark was the recipient of the cheap shot. Okay, let's just analyze this frame by frame. So what happened was that Carter slammed into Clark as she was running up the court and caught her completely off guard. The impact was absolutely clear. Yet the referees? They just called it a simple personal foul and did not even bother to review it for a flagrant. Everyone saw that this was not just physical play, it was a targeted hit. But you know what made it worse? The aftermath. Because even after almost dislocating Clark's shoulder, when she was asked about it, Chennedy Carter literally just shrugged it off and refused to acknowledge Clark or the situation. Yes, she literally told reporters, "I ain't answering no Caitlin Clark questions." The dismissal felt so intentional that many people thought that this was a planned move, and if that was not enough, Clark's long-standing rival Angel Reese jumped off the bench and celebrated that hit like it was a game-winning buzzer beater. The long-standing rivalry that started back in college has only gotten more intense in the WNBA. Remember when Reese waved her hand in Clark's face during the NCAA championship? Well, that energy has not faded, seeing how Reese made sure to make a spectacle out of when Carter took out Clark. But here's where things get even more interesting. When asked about it, Reese refused to speak to the media, so that silence only added fuel to the fire. The WNBA requires all players to be available post-game. Yet Reese and the Chicago Sky ignored the rules. And guess what? They got fined for it. This is not the first time Sky has played by its own rules when it comes to media access. But this time, the timing made it look even worse. Avoiding the press only made people ask more questions. If you have been a WNBA fan, you would know that Carter has a history of playing with an edge. Known for her fiery attitude, she has previously been at the center of physical altercations in both college and the WNBA. But with her dismissal and attitude about the incident, people wondered whether this was just another example of her aggressive play style or if there was more behind it. While Carter was busy giving people something to gossip about, someone else took the high road, because Clark just went on with her "it is what it is" attitude. No complaints, no blame. Even when she was asked initially, Clark herself dismissed it. She said, "I was not expecting it. It is what it is. It's a physical game. Go make the free throw and execute on offense." And I feel like that's kind of what we did. You might think that this should have been the end of it, right? Wrong, because fans were not having it. The outrage was literally immediate. The WNBA, already under a microscope because of Clark's massive following, was suddenly at the center of a national debate. The public was not just angry at Carter for her cheap shot. They were curious that the league seemed to let it slide. Let's be honest, we all have seen several flagrant fouls get called for far less. But this one, it was not even reviewed. The inconsistency had fans calling foul play, and even analysts started questioning if Clark was being treated differently. Some people did try to argue that this was just part of the WNBA's more physical style, but the public was not convinced. Many people pointed out how Clark was getting hit with extra physicality. She was drawing more fouls, taking more hard hits, and dealing with veteran players who didn't want to be posterized by a rookie. While some say it's just part of the game, others say it's personal, but either way, the evidence has been piling up. It's understandable that the WNBA veterans don't like the attention Caitlin Clark has been getting. She is the most talked about rookie in league history, and she is already in national commercials. She is literally bringing millions of new eyes to the game. That kind of spotlight does not come without backlash, and while competition is part of the sport, there is a fine line between playing tough and playing dirty. Clark herself has admitted she expects tough play, but there is a difference between aggressive defense and outright targeting, right? Well, Chennedy Carter definitely got her share of karma because the foul that was initially called a common foul was later upgraded by the WNBA as a flagrant 1 violation after reviews. And although the WNBA did not fine or suspend Carter for the play, they did fine the Chicago Sky $5,000 for failing to ensure that all players comply with league media policies. WNBA has made it clear that they want rivalries, obviously, because it's good for business. That was pretty clear since they did not take any action until the public was on their necks. Even Chicago Sky head coach Teresa Weatherspoon called Carter's action not appropriate. But she also said that it was just a player caught up in the heat of the moment. But should that be an excuse? I mean, when does the heat of the moment become an excuse for targeting? But this also raises the question that if the coach could see that the player did something inappropriate, why couldn't the referees? How could they just let it go as a normal foul? But well, despite all of this, at the end of the day, Caitlin Clark is here to stay. She's not backing down. She's taking the hits, learning from them, and proving she belongs in the league. But the question remains, how much of this was just basketball, and how much is straight-up bullying? Well, I guess that's something we'll never know, but whether you love her or hate her, you cannot deny that Caitlin Clark is definitely changing the game, and she is not slowing down anytime soon. Clark has had her sights set on making an even bigger impact on the WNBA. Despite all the controversies, she has remained focused on improving her game, proving herself, and helping the Indiana Fever rise to the top. Caitlin has already shown glimpses of her dominance, but she knows there's still room to grow. And that's something that we'd love to see in a player. She has been working relentlessly on refining her defense and increasing her shooting consistency to cement herself as one of the best in the league. Her goal? To lead the Fever to a deep playoff run, something the franchise has not seen in years. Clark has seen success beyond just basketball. She has literally become a cultural icon. With major endorsement deals with brands like Nike and Gatorade, she has proved that her influence goes far beyond the court. With millions of fans tuning in to watch her games, she has been helping reshape the popularity of women's basketball. Perhaps this is the fruit of not harming anyone. It's funny how Chennedy Carter tried to make a statement but became a joke in the process. Because Caitlin Clark didn't just get up, she took over. If there's one thing we've learned, it's that you can try to knock someone down, but you better be ready for what comes next. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe to our channel for more such content. See you in the next video.